President Obama spoke to George Stephanopoulos, and he said something that's getting some headlines because it's a pretty interesting admission.
But at what point does the experience become a liability? And what put this in my mind was reading Bob Gates' memoir. Yeah. And he talks about being in the meetings with you and talking about the raid on Osama bin Laden, saying maybe he's getting too cautious. He's been there too long. Yeah. Is that a risk?
Well, what I'll say is this. I believe in term limits for presidents because I think that there is no doubt I'm a better president now than I was when I started. I am the best president I've ever been over the last year or two. My team is more effective than it's ever been. But what is also true is that, number one, this and sustaining the energy and focus involved in doing a good job, I think starts to get tougher the longer you do it. The second thing is the bubble's the bubble. And I think we've done a pretty good job staying in touch with the American people, but at a certain point, you can't help but lose some feel for what's on the ground because you're not on the ground. And
you didn't think Donald Trump could win?
Case in point. So that tells me that there's a utility in the democracy refreshing itself on an ongoing basis.
Wow. So that's Obama saying, to some extent, yeah, I was in a bubble. I didn't think Trump could win, and I was wrong. Here's the thing. There were some of us who could imagine it, including myself. In fact, in my prediction, so I predicted Hillary would edge out the election. But I gave a very, very strong warning, even in the context of that prediction, where I said, if you don't think he can win, you're just wrong. And there were so many pieces of evidence, man. So even though he had record unfavorables, at one point it was 63%, Hillary was right there with him. He was the most disliked politician in America. She was the second most disliked politician. That's literal. That's according to the numbers. People looked at her record and they cringed. And they were like, oh, God, she feels like the establishment. She feels like the status quo and business as usual. And she is those things. She just is. So the reason why Trump was able to win, it's very simple. Obama campaigned in 2008 on change, hope and change, and he portrayed himself as the anti-establishment candidate. Well, who portrayed themselves as the anti-establishment candidate in 2016? Who campaigned on change in 2016? Donald Trump. It wasn't Hillary Clinton. Hillary Clinton was on the platform of America's already great. I'm going to continue what we're doing. That's what we're going to do. Donald Trump was the Make America Great Again. Let's go into Washington and shake things up. We're against the establishment. The Washington establishment is screwing over everybody. Now, again, that's his campaign rhetoric. How he governs is totally different, and all the evidence right now is suggesting he's going to be super establishment like everybody else and mix it in with a heaping dose of authoritarianism. So he's going to be a nightmare in office governing. But in terms of how he campaigned anti-establishment. He campaigned on the platform of change, and Obama didn't realize, because he was in that bubble, that, hey, maybe it's not a good idea for me to go around pushing TPP for the last year and a half, which is what he was doing. And you had a Democratic candidate who had pushed for TPP 45 times. Trump even brought it up in the debate, and he was right. Hillary called the TPP the gold standard of trade deals. These trade deals, that's exactly why they lost the election. The Democratic firewall fell. The Democratic firewall is the Rust Belt, is former depressed factory towns. So their one thing is, hey, my job's gone. Hey, we don't make as much money here anymore. A lot of people don't have jobs because the factories packed up and moved to Mexico or moved to Bangladesh or moved to Turkey or moved to China. So we need somebody who's going to shake things up and who's going to have jobs here. And what did Trump do? Every speech, hammering the TPP, hammering it over and over and over and over and over and over and over. And Hillary, even though she was tepidly against it, she never brought it up. She had flipped because Bernie did the right thing and pushed her to that position. But then she never brought it up. She was never like, oh, TPP's wrong and NAFTA was horrible and this and that. She couldn't do it because she supported those things, and in her heart of hearts, she still supports those things because she is the establishment. So, yeah, we warned you. We told you it could happen because what the Democrats were doing is they were only seeing half of the picture with Trump. They were only seeing the bigoted shit. They were only seeing the Mexicans are rapists and let's ban 1.6 billion Muslims and, So in their mind, they had that picture of Trump as all of Trump. They just dismissed or discounted or willfully ignored when Trump said, I'm going to protect Medicare. I'm going to protect Social Security. I'm going to do infrastructure spending. We're going to make America great again. We're going to spend here. We're going to stop nation building over there. We're going to kill TPP. So my thing is, are there like genuine deplorables who support Trump who are on his side because of the bigoted shit he said? Yes. Absolutely, and those people, yeah, there are some who are irredeemable. It is what it is. But there are a lot of Trump supporters who are more in the other camp, where they overlooked that other shit, and they said, he's the one that's making it seem like he's going to keep my job here. So what am I going to do? He seems to want change more in Washington, and Washington is corrupt and broken. What am I going to do? I'm going to vote for him. That's why there were many former Obama voters who voted for Trump. Obama did not see that coming. And he's admitting he didn't see it coming. He was in the bubble. And we know it's true that he was in the bubble because he was pushing for TPP the last year and a half as Donald Trump was campaigning and winning on that issue.